Welcome to My Home HQ podcast with Ray Fletcher. Leading the way in buying and selling homes, knowing the current housing market, updating your home without an extensive remodel, or how to stage your home for the perfect sale and more. Portland, Oregon real estate agent Ray Fletcher will bring his 20-plus years experience of real estate, home ownership, and selling homes to you in his bi-monthly podcast. This podcast will be your home headquarters for strategies to achieve success in your real estate investments. Now your host of the podcast, Terry Fletcher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the My Home HQ podcast with Ray Fletcher. Our resident home and real estate expert, Portland, Oregon area realtor Ray Fletcher is here today to chat with me about all things real estate. I'm your host, Terry Fletcher. Hey, Ray, how's your month of July going so far?
So far, so good. We're trying to keep cool like pretty much everybody else in the country.
I was just going to ask, are you surviving this heat? We're dying here in California.
It's hot. Luckily, we're still not as hot as everybody else, but today's supposed to be our hottest. I think we're looking at like 90 something. But
wow, Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It reminds me of your wedding day not so long ago.
Oh man, yes.
How long ago was that?
It'll be 20 years this year.
20 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations on August 1st, right?
Well, it's not there yet. So
yeah, almost there. So our topic today actually focuses on something that is actually near and dear to both of yours and my heart, because we are business owners, entrepreneur, and we work from home. And so a lot of home buyers or even renters now that are out there searching for a home, they're looking for homes with offices or dedicated workspaces. And I wanted to talk about this because in the healthcare field, I'm coming up with some challenges as other people are. And as a realtor, I was wondering if you have to now give more information about somebody who's looking for that type of home, more than just an extra bedroom guidance. Then I'll start it off. Do you talk to them, or do they ask you about smart home stuff or internet, or where do you kind of start with that? Let's start with somebody who's buying a home versus renting.
yeah, so the very first thing, anybody that's going to work from home, the biggest question now is the internet. And it's interesting because I just had this come up actually yesterday. Some buyers and then on another note, a lot of new buyers or seasoned buyers, they are looking to get out of the suburbs and the city, and they're looking for a little bit of land, maybe a shop and some acreage, things like that, to get out of town. And so the number one thing they're looking for is internet and what's available, how fast is it, and all those type of things. And this house, they sent it to me. It's perfect. It's everything we wanted. And then it's in Washington, so I'm referring it out. But they found the internet's extremely slow. And then so we talked about Starlink, which is, as everybody knows, the Elon Musk's internet. And that is now an absolute viable solution. That is probably the one of the top three things that most people need is the internet.
That's what I was wondering, because I know I have to have strong broadband, and in Riverside, California, I have it very strong in my office space, which is one of the back bedrooms. But then when we move out to the living room, and I have an over 2,000 square foot house, we had to actually double up and get an extra extender to be able to get internet that goes not only to the living room, but also to the bedroom. It's really strange how that works.
Yeah, so you're talking more of internet in the home and expanding it throughout the house. This is just getting internet to the house.
Oh.
And that's the biggest factor. So there's places out there that do not have access to internet. Still, yeah. And then you have to go satellite or very, very slow, like a DSL or some of these off-brand internet companies that just don't have the performance. And all you're really going to be able to do is maybe check. You're not going to be able to stream anything. And so with Zoom being the primary source for people that are working from home, if you can't stream a clear picture, that house isn't for you. And people will be like, unfortunately, everything about this house is perfect, but since it's no internet, I can't buy it. And then like a minute ago, Starlink has helped. But with what you're talking about, that takes us into more of a smart home feature. And one of the things that most new homes, they're building in full wireless extenders and access points throughout the home. I mean, our brother bought a new house and it was considered smart. And all you do is just plug in your internet into this router that's already there and this network, and it just lights up the whole house, and you have strong
Wow.
internet throughout. So, two different things, but
Oh, so
same
one is
same
getting
end
the
result.
internet there, and then the
Yeah.
other one is actually, once it's there, how strong is it?
Yes. And how far does it go?
Well, is it just, do people, and I say this knowing the answer, but I'm just
Yeah.
asking for the listeners. I don't think people understand, maybe they learned through the pandemic with kids being home from school, that more users you have, the more strains on the internet system, right?
Correct. And it's not just users at home, it's users in your area. So, like personally, I have CenturyLink. I was going to say Quest, but they merged or they shifted. So I have CenturyLink, and CenturyLink is fiber, and so you're basically on your own line. If I had Xfinity, which is basically the old Comcast, you guys have Cox out there. You're on a cable system, and you'll feel the network strain around 6 p.m. because everybody in your neighborhood is on it. So you're not just getting the strain inside your home, you're getting the strain outside in your neighborhood too.
We notice that
So
we have Spectrum here, and we notice that when there's a streaming sports event,
yeah,
that it kind of lags a little bit.
right.
So crazy. Okay, so that's one thing. If for the listeners that are considering buying a home and you need office space, that is probably a really big deal because now most of us can't work without internet. Now, kind of shifting a little bit away from the IT part, there are some things that I've noticed that people don't necessarily. Now, again, I'm talking healthcare field. Everybody's in different, types of businesses, but dedicated areas versus an actual bedroom setup is different, right?
Yeah. So a lot of homes just have an actual dedicated office. If it just now there's even a step further with that with some of these professions where not only do you need a designated office, but you need a quiet space to where you don't have two glass French doors to
Right.
where you've got three kids at home and they're all just they're just looking at you while you're trying to work.
Right.
So some people may convert a space if you have a three-car garage, or if you have you even put in a small sort of structure to create an office that's still at the house, but it's separate from everybody. Or if you have a larger home and you have a guest bedroom that's once again a little farther out, a little separated from the main house, then those are some things that have to be looked at as well. And then also the one of the hardest parts would be is what if both people are working from home? So you have your spouse working from home as well. Now you need two dedicated spaces. So
Right.
there's a lot of different factors that go into when you're looking for a home that a family can actually work their career out of.
Well, we had something interesting happen here because, as you know, I'm in the healthcare field and telehealth is a really big deal.
Yeah.
And so a lot of physicians during the pandemic, they were working from home just as patients were trying to get their medical care from home. So in dialing in, basically. And one of the things that has happened is that physicians were allowed to use their home as a location, but bill it as if it was in their office. This is under
Ooh,
Medicare, I
yeah.
know. Well, here's the problem now that that the PHE, the public health emergency, ended on May 11th. Well, they did extend it through the end of 2023, basically saying get your act together and get back in the office. But physicians forgot the fact that once you have a location with a certain payer, they, and especially federal government, they put it on a public site.
Oh,
So now
yeah.
people who think you might have drugs in your house, they know where you live.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but the other thing that I've noticed is that when I lived down in Laguna, they you didn't have to have a permit to work from home, but here in Riverside you do, and there's certain permits and if you have to put on this permit, are you commercial zoning? I didn't even know what that was.
Right.
Foot traffic, and I'm sure your neighbors won't like that.
Right.
And there's just some red flags. There was one thing they said, do you have a pool? Because that's not allowed if you have a commercial business in your house.
Right. And my guess would mean if you have, there's a couple different things, a commercial business of your house. Let's say you started a small candle business, so to speak. And now if you have people coming to your home, like a storefront, then yeah, that permitting process and license and all that stuff does kick in. If you're just an admin person or an accountant or like a doctor, a physician doing things from your home, well, nobody should be coming to your house,
Right.
traditionally speaking. And so I think with that, that's where you get into those areas where you got to check with your local city to see what's legal and what's not. And I'll be honest with you, most people, I think they just look at the situation and go, "Am I going to get caught?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
it's do it now, ask for forgiveness later.
I know, I see that too. And the other thing is having a business, you have to actually, I know actually in our city, you have to have parking spaces.
Yes.
I was like, what? So people are thinking, wait, I'm just working out of my house. And they're like, yes, but what's the definition of your business? Which actually brings me to my next question. And again, I know this is kind of a sidebar on real estate, but there's a difference between employees just working from home versus business owners and entrepreneurs, right?
Yes. Yeah. Independent contractors, I mean, you traditionally work anywhere you want. And then you have to decide with your accountant what you're going to write off because you can't technically, well, this is a tax thing, drive to work and write that off. But if you're working out of the home, then you technically can write off that room a percentage. You just measure it out, the percentage of the house, which is also the percentage of the utilities and everything else. And then
Right.
and then that's a page on your taxes. But
It's
so yeah,
actually easier for
really,
renters.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
But yeah, no, it's just interesting because I know how many people, and now that, I always mention I watch these real estate and home shows. I know my hobby, and I can't tell you how things have shifted. Where, before when I was watching them, in 2010 up to maybe 2018, everybody was really wanting that big kitchen, and it has to have a great, master bathroom, or I guess now they call it primary bathroom. But now it's like, I need a workspace. I need dedicated workspace. I need privacy. I need an area. And a lot comes with that. It's not, like you said, it's not just about the location or how great the home is. It's about what it includes.
Right, right. And I mean, I've got a friend of mine who she wants to work out of her house, Anna, and she thought about just getting a van and sitting it beside her house. Have a little table, work right out of there. And I'm like, yeah, you may not want a van unless it's well down by the river, but that's
Yeah, I
another
was gonna
different
say you might get the neighborhood watch kind of giving you a hard
uh-huh.
time there. That's pretty funny though.
Yeah.
But do you find, so let's say that, taking it back to the real estate question, let's say you do have somebody who needs that working space and they want that extra room. What
Yep.
is the difference between, let's say, somebody who needs a 3 bedroom 2 bath versus a 4 bedroom 2 bath? What are they looking at as far as price range? Well, and you can speak to Oregon,
Yeah.
to add that or to have that extra bedroom when you're searching for price point.
It could be substantial. And the reason being is because once you get, I mean, how many people would like to have a bigger house? I mean, if when you do your criteria, my criteria for my buyers is always the minimums. You know what I mean? You never put in a maximum. Oh, we don't want more than 4 bedrooms. You just let it ride. So they're willing to accept a 3 bedroom, 2 bath home, but they would be happy to have a 4 bedroom, 3 bath home. So I don't put in those limitations. And so there's more buyers in the world for more bedrooms than the minimums, and that's really the thing. So that could be a $50,000 swing,
Oh wow,
depending
just for the
on
extra
the
bedroom.
room, the layout. One of the biggest factors is if you have all the bedrooms upstairs, even the primary, but the downstairs, the builder designed it as a kind of a twofold. It could either be an office or it could be a bedroom because it's attached to the downstairs bathroom. And so that's a whole another jar that you're going to be opening up going, okay, it's an in-law quarter or a guest room, or it's my office and there's a bathroom next to it. So there's just a lot of different factors that go in, but for sure, it's the value and the price does increase if you have that type of space. And if it's really separate, that's super valuable, unless you have only a 3-bedroom home and one of the bedrooms is super separate, that's not the primary, because now you're just getting into a home that just flows weird. So
Okay. Yeah, and it's interesting just because this is coming up so much with workspace considerations, and I'm seeing it quite a bit with renting. I'm seeing it also with buying a house, but it seems like renters, they're like, and rents are just out of control right now. But I do see that this is always a question in anything that I see. I need a space to work from home.
yeah. Yeah. And speaking of rentals, I mean, off topic, this could not be the best investor market for people to buy rentals, because there is a housing shortage. It feels like there always will be. And the rental prices are high, the rates are high. So these people can't, the first time home buyers are struggling. And
Yeah.
if that investor has the cash to go buy rentals, they're going to do extremely well.
Now, do you see people asking for workspace considerations when they buy vacation homes?
No,
No. Okay. I
no.
wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, I think, no, I don't. That's,
Okay.
never
I
been
wasn't
that.
sure. Some people take work with them. I was
Yeah. Oh,
listening
for
to
sure.
Andy Reid, Kansas City Chiefs, thing. He's
Yeah.
like, well, I work on vacation, but I'm thinking, well, okay, that's maybe one person. I know I have to take my laptop, but I wasn't sure if that was a consideration for people buying a vacation
Yeah,
home.
no, because I think what they do is people still do work, but it's a vacation. And so I'm assuming, and this just from personal experience, everybody leaves the house to go do something because it's a vacation. And if you got to do your work, you're home alone,
Yeah, that's
looking
true.
at the beach or whatever your vacation home setting is. And that's a great spot to be. So like for
Is that
us,
what you
people,
do when you guys go on vacation? You're like, you guys go ahead, I'll
yes.
meet up with you, and you got your
Yep.
time.
Yeah, we go to the beach, and then the family goes to Seaside, which is a little amusement town, definitely a tourist town. And I stay there and do some work, and I'm staring at the ocean and on my laptop and get a couple hours in. So,
Nice, nice. Well, that makes sense. Okay, well, we're basically doing a quick hit today. Those were some questions that had come up that I know people were kind of asking. They direct message us and said, hey, can you do an episode on this? So I think it's good information. And just to wrap up, so the first thing that people need to look for is not just does the home work for you, but the internet seems to be the big question, right? The internet broadband.
that's very true. Yes.
Okay, and then dedicated areas. Look as far as what your city or permits and privacy laws, what they want, and that's going to be different everywhere, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And then employees working from home versus business owners. You all know business owners. Many of us are entrepreneurs. We've got our own, we got our own things we got to worry about as far as privacy issues, locked doors, locked cabinets, and areas versus employees sitting on the couch with their feet up with the laptop. So
Right. And
that's
then just one small other thing, which can be large. When you're working from home, you will have to go into the office at some point. I mean, that's just kind of a given.
yeah.
And that office may be far to where you have to get on a plane. So keep in consideration your location to a major airport.
Oh,
I mean,
that's a great thing.
yeah. I mean, it sounds great to go live in Bend, Oregon, which is 2.5 hours from Portland International Airport. But I mean, again, you're going to have to get there and go fly to the East Coast if that's where your employer is. I mean, again, this whole remote thing is amazing. However, there still is a time where you still have to go travel.
Right.
So,
Well, that's what I was trying to talk to some of the physicians I work with is that said, yeah, I think I'm going to, just work out of my home. And I said, well, how close is it to the hospital where you admit patients? And they're like,
yeah.
oh, shoot, I'm an hour away. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's one thing to come in an hour and then, you're working all day, you got to run to the hospital. And it's across the street from your office, your physical office. But then when you bring it home, like you said, you're going to have to go to the office, which could be the hospital or could be, flying somewhere. So you have
Could
to
be an
take
interview.
that into consideration. All right, Ray. Well,
Cool.
thank you. Did you have anything last comments?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. This has been a great episode, and I hope our listeners appreciate these real estate tips and considerations before jumping into a purchase and considerations for workspace in their new home or their rental. So that's it for us this week on My Home HQ podcast. Join us next time when we bring you more topics on real estate, home buying, selling, investing, and more. Drop us a rating and review on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Podcast, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Make it a great rest of your month, and thank you for listening to the My Home HQ podcast with Ray Fletcher.
Thank you for listening to My Home HQ Podcast with Ray Fletcher. Drop us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website and blog at www.rayfletcher.biz or contact Ray directly at realtorrayf@gmail.com to also subscribe to his weekly newsletter.